Okay, that's it. That's great. I mean, where else can you get this one-on-one advice from experts? And I'm going to talk to you, Christy. We could say, I mean, it would have been an easy conclusion for me to jump to. See, there's tons of cash around. You got $1 billion, but you did this really a decade ago when there wasn't really tons of cash around, and you got almost $1 billion then. So, I don't know where to go with this. I want to ask you really how you made this match with the sale, but I also want to ask you, what's your big picture of where we are in the economy in terms of raising capital and businesses finding financing that's serious and allows them to grow?
Yeah, boy, there's so much. And if I can first comment on a couple of things
Sure.
that these guys have said, just because Ed hit on something like near and dear to me, and if you don't mind me sharing this.
No,
story.
go right ahead. That's the point.
Yeah. So, running a public company is not exactly like a bed of roses. You as an entrepreneur, as a founder, as a CEO, whatever, it's fun building a company. You have your passion that you are throwing into this every single day. When you have to run a public company, your whole job description changes. You are now focused on governance and reporting to public investors, where you have to worry about your quarterly, report card, if you will. It's a totally different scenario. And I'll be really honest with you guys. We had 3 LOIs from 3 different SPACs on the table. And we were talking through, do we really want to do that again? And we were looking at 2 other strategic partners when this other conversation, I'm going to say, sort of dropped in our lap. It didn't exactly drop in our lap, because we are always open to having conversations. And, we are always willing to listen and look at deals, because you learn so much and you build that foundation, that framework for future capital raises, future M&A, all of that. And I could go on and on about networking and how important it is to take the call, no matter if it is from an investment banker that just wants to learn about you in those year 2. You find out later that 6 years later, they might have an amazing deal for you. It's things like that. Anyway, but we're saying we did look at SPACs. I'll be honest, it feels like the .com boom all over again. And boy, we're all waiting for that bubble to burst, right? And it's a little bit scary, because we've seen it. All of these new entrepreneurs haven't gone through that, haven't seen what a market crash looks like. So anyway, so I digress.
No, good warning. Good warning.
Yeah. So when you look at the economy, though, if I can talk about the economy as you're just to answer your question, the economy is going to take some time to recover when you really look at it. I think, when we look at recovery, it's going to be by different industry sets, right? And we look at, unemployment rates, and that's sort of one of our measures and indicators of how the economy is doing. Prior to the pandemic, it was like 3.5%. A year ago, today, it was closer to like 15%. And then now we're seeing it come back down to about 6.2. But if we talk about these pockets of industries like hospitality, hit over 39% unemployment, and that's now down to like 13%. But so it affects, industries differently. And so we were lucky enough to be one of the industries that saw more activity as a result of the pandemic, with self-directed investing and trading. And we were, again, fortunate enough to be poised as a digital first company, online content, online trading, but not all financial services firms, were. And there was sort of this huge, shift even in financial services, particularly the larger institutions like Ed was talking about. He was able to sort of flip on a dime and do PPP. Well, a number of these other large institutions actually had digital transformation on their list to do, right? And didn't really didn't really have that as a top priority. So when we talk about sort of returning to normal, that the digital transformation is not going to go backwards in financial services, right? I mean, Yeah. And so when you look at a lot of these companies now, I actually look at this next, call it state of change, that we are all going to go through in coming out of the pandemic. I think change means opportunity, and that's where we're going to see some of the most innovative ideas come to life, just like we did when we were, diving into the pandemic, right? And everybody's going in lockdown. You saw like an incredible amount of innovation. I think we're going to see that same thing again as we come out of the pandemic. So I think the VC firms have done an incredible job of adjusting to their mindset. Normally it's, I need to see them, I need to meet them, I need to kick the tires. Yeah. They've actually done an amazing job digitally to meet the entrepreneurs and still provide the funding. So that's a major kudos to all investors across the board.